Tonight, we're heading to the North Yorkshire Moors here in the UK, a case that was dubbed Britain's Roswell, a tiny metallic saucer, hieroglyphs, and a copper message book, and a warning from an entity called Uloh, all discovered in 1957 on Silpho Moor. For more than 60 years, the wreckage disappeared. Nobody knew where it was until it was unearthed in a London museum. So what really happened on that cold November evening?
Welcome back, everybody. I don't know about you, but Dave had me at Britain's Roswell. And the thing about this case that we're about to dig into is it's really close to where we're from. And I didn't know about anything about this case until Dave mentioned it to me last week. So I've been digging into it with Dave, and I think it's going to be quite interesting going through this one, because from what I've read, there's definitely two sides that you can actually look at with this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we land on it.
I'm so excited, Kyle, to deep dive into this one. I think 1957 and that period of time globally was a really interesting time. There was the space race, there was obviously the Roswell incident, and then there was this, the Britain's answer to Roswell. And I'm so excited that we deep dive into it and just explore some of the kind of weird findings that we'd spotted. But before that, we're going to the news.
Every week there's just like an abundance of news at the minute. It's a little bit crazy. I think the first bit, obviously what we've been hearing recently in regards to Trump and the push to try and get these files out, there's now been two domains registered by the White House, Aliens.gov and Alien.gov. What do you think to that?
I mean, having watched Aliens, the movie, I hope it's not aliens. I don't want a facehugger near me. Thank you very much. It's interesting. It's an interesting choice of naming. And I think, what interesting timing. Is it more distraction? Is it something else?
It's a good way to look at it, to be honest with you, because everything that's going off with Iran at the minute, I think they're looking for the shiny keys to distract people. But then you've got a contingent within the kind of the topic that are looking at this and thinking, is this disclosure, but is it some kind of dirty disclosure? That we're getting what we want, but probably not in the way that we want it. I think the choice of words a little bit crazy as well. Like, I feel like it's Monopoly. We've gone straight past go, gone straight to jail. I would have expected UFO or UAP, but actually seeing aliens and alien, it's kind of leading the audience a little bit to go, actually, we're a lot further along down this line to what we're actually talking about, which is the people that's driving them.
Of course. Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Like, what do they know that we don't know? And I think that's a great metaphor. Straight to jail in Monopoly. Do not pass go. Like, we're straight there. Yeah. It is interesting. I wonder how long we've got to wait before we see what really gets published on those websites. I might set up a bot so I can get instant notification when it's published, like, you know, one of those klaxon alarms to wake me up. So I'm like first on the website. But yeah, it'd be really interesting. But I guess watch this space, guys, because that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I would. If you do watch this, I mention him quite a lot, but Pavel at Psychoactivo, I lay in bed. One of the first things I do in the morning is look for his headlines, because he's kind of before, he's kind of ahead of us in a way. So when he's going to bed, we're waking up when we get the news as it happens. But everything else that's happening at the minute is really linked to that. There's been talks of possible photos and videos that have been muted that are going to come out with the release. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, obviously very, very close to the law of this, seems to be linked as well in regards to Trump's directive that was in February to release the files. And Paulina Luna teasing cool stuff in the files. So anybody that doesn't know who she is, she's a congresswoman who chairs the task force for the release of secrets.
Yeah.
And she said there's a lot of cool stuff coming, and it's forthcoming. So to your point, how long do we have to wait? It feels as though we won't be waiting long until things start to get released. Really interesting time. I feel like I say interesting a lot on these videos, but I can't describe it in any other way. It feels like the declassification order is getting pushed through, and we're going to start to see things.
Let's go back to Silpho Moor. 1957, as I said at the start, there was an awful lot going on. The space race, obviously Roswell as a US UFO incident was in a similar proximity, kind of, you know, year-wise. So picture this. There's three men. They're hiking. So in a place called Scarborough in the UK. So that's on the east coast of the UK, about halfway up the country when you look at kind of Scotland and England all together. Lovely little place. A couple of beaches there. So they're hiking near there and they stumble across a metallic disc. And it's about the size of a car steering wheel, which sounds tiny. And, you know, when we picture kind of, you know, flying saucers, you imagine these massive things. Certainly in my experience, the things that I've seen were very big. But imagine finding that. So they find this kind of metallic disc, roughly the size of a car steering wheel. It would have been an old-fashioned car steering wheel because this was 1957, so that's bigger than what we currently have now. Like we've all got kind of modern cars with smaller steering wheels. Imagine more like a bus or a truck steering wheel would have been more kind of likely what size this was. And we will kind of overlay some pictures because there's the ones that were taken originally at the time from the press, and then also kind of more recent pictures, but we'll come to that. So this disc is heavy. It's sealed and it's shaped like a classic flying saucer. So picture that. This is just weeks after the launch of Sputnik. And I think that space race energy and the buzz around all of that, there is a pun intended there for anybody who's a space race geek. So there is a buzz. But I think the imaginations are primed. You're already going, what is this? And in 1957, we didn't have mobile phones, you know, there wasn't the internet, it was newspapers and it was whatever you saw with your own eyes. So imagine just stumbling across this, and imagine these three individuals stumbling across it. One of the men was so intrigued that they paid £10 British, and we should do the maths like of how much that is today in modern currency compared based on inflation, just so we can understand kind of how much somebody would pay for that right now. But one of the men paid £10 for the object, and that was significant at the time, and it was because he was convinced it was not from this world. They bought it. Well, one of them's bought it. They take it back to Scarborough, so they're back now in Scarborough itself. And curiosity wins through, and they decide to cut it open. Inside, once they cut it open, they find a coil of copper wire, a tiny copper booklet made out of 17 super thin sheets, hieroglyphic markings etched into the metal, and the base of the saucer itself, and you'll see it on the pictures that we pop up, also carry the hieroglyphic markings. Some compared it at the time to Russian lettering, but others reported it to symbols also seen at Roswell, which is really fascinating. I think in my mind then, were these markings a deliberate attempt to mimic like an alien type script? Or were they the work of like a local hoaxer with a flair for being dramatic? And I think, you know, when I see the photos, Carl, I'm so torn. It's so small. Like you could hoax something like that, but I think like you just touched on it before I kind of talked through them cutting it open. Those hieroglyphics, like I come back to that and seeing the photographs. I'm with you. I'm kind of like, really?
I mean, my view on it, because I'm looking at the photo right now, and the hieroglyphics, if you look at them, they don't look Russian to me. They do look very, very similar to the things that people said they saw at Rendlesham and Roswell, like really, really similar, but their placing is all wrong. It's like they're like as a block text in certain areas of it. Like it doesn't look like a natural flow of what people say they saw on other items. And this is the weird thing about this, like, I kind of see it from both sides, because when we get into the detail of what people thought from a hoax perspective, I'm not convinced on the argument for the hoax, but I'm not even sat here thinking it feels legitimate. It's a genuinely strange case, this.
Yeah. And this is why I wanted us to talk about it. Obviously, we focus in the UK, and this for me is one that's fascinated me for a number of years. I think it gets even stranger though. Hear this. So, in Scarborough, there's a local cafe owner called Philip Longbottom. He claims that he deciphers the copper booklet. So we talked about that 17-page super thin copper booklet. And he says it contains a 2,000-word message from an extraterrestrial entity called Uloh. And we'll pop the spelling up on the screen, ULLO. The warning within that message is, you will improve or you will disappear. How interesting. And I think that drives this whole incident to become the heart of the Silpho Moor legend. And I think with it being so close to the Cold War era, and maybe a morality tale kind of wrapped up in UFO mythology.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, even this, if you look at this on the face of it, you have a cafe owner that is able to decipher a
Sure.
message that might have apparently travelled thousands of years through space.
Yep.
And yeah, you can't discount that somebody was able to kind of figure that out, but there's no talk about how.
No.
But then on the flip side of it, the message itself really aligns to messages that have been heard throughout the years at various other places.
100%, yeah.
The Rua experience with the children that saw the entity, that they gave them warnings about what they do, what we are doing to Earth, and the potential of nuclear impact and us wiping ourselves off. Every single one. I think even Betty and Barney Hill had a very similar message that was given to them. So the message is actually on point, but the circumstances are just honky. And also, at the time that this happened, this is happening at the time that the other experiences are happening. So it's not like they've got anything to refer back to go, I know how to make a hoax. Let's copy what happened in this place.
Yeah.
Some of these things have not even happened at this point.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. I think you're fully right. I don't know if it gets weirder, but it vanishes. So after all that excitement, the saucer itself just simply disappears. As you can imagine, rumours are rife. It was scrapped. There was a rumour that it was displayed in a fish and chip shop local in Scarborough. What? It was stolen. It was destroyed to hide the truth. As you can imagine, everybody from every different angle, whether they believe or don't believe, think it was a hoax, all had their opinions. And for decades, UFO researchers tried to find out what happened to it and just continually hit dead ends. And I think it's really interesting. 60 years is a long time. So where did it go? And I don't think anybody can explain that.
I think, well, I kind of know what happens next and when it's rediscovered, but how does it vanish? And the funny thing, like I said to you before we started recording, the circumstances of what happened with this is very similar to the Boogosphere, which seems to be getting even more credence at the minute in the legitimacy of the object. Very similar set of circumstances that happen, but then how does it vanish and where does it go to? And if it's been stolen, what did that person know about it that we don't seem to know about?
Yeah.
What's the significance of this? Where it was, and then in a fish and chip shop, like that's random. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird,
really
isn't it?
Random.
Yeah, but that's one of the rumours, and it's within the law. The law. Yeah.
I will say, like, I know we're probably going to get onto the hoax stuff, but I'm reading a line about it right now, and this is another thing that again, I'm trying to come at it and go, I can't settle on what I think about this. I really can't, because I'm in two minds, and maybe at the end we give our own verdicts, but one of the reasons why they believe it was a hoax is and I'm reading here, it had no special properties or shown any signs of travelling through space. That was from a group of people in 1957. We'd only just released Sputnik. We're talking about technology that if it was alien, why would it show any signs of travelling through space when we're now talking about transmedium objects that can go through anything without any impact on the actual object itself?
Yeah.
That doesn't tell me it's a hoax. That actually now makes me think, well, we've not done a proper test on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but what testing was available in 1957 and
Mm.
what
Yeah.
understanding was there? Analysis that they can do today versus what they could do then. Massively different. But yeah, I agree. I'm still not certain either way, one way or the other. And obviously, I'm not here to tell you guys it is something. We're just here to be curious and just talk about this. But this is like probably alongside some other really big cases in the UK. This is one of the big cases in the UK, so we thought we should cover it and just have a bit of a reflect back. Um, so in 2018, they discovered fragments of the object itself in a tin cigarette box inside the Science Museum Group archives. And the pieces include some fused metal and plastic from the casing, hollow copper tubing, foil fragments from the booklet that was deciphered, and experts examine the materials and conclude that there's nothing unusual about them at all. And I think that's what you were just touching on there, Kyle. Like, to conclude there was nothing unusual is really interesting. And I think one of the experts, even wagers that the metal was definitely made on Earth.
My first question to that is, what tests were done to categorically say that it was from Earth? What
Yeah.
tests were done?
Yeah.
That's my instant knee-jerk question. You're categorically telling me that it's from Earth. Okay. And again, I'm not actually thinking that this is a UFO. I think in my kind of realm of what I'm potentially thinking, I'm not thinking that at all. But
Yep.
what's the backup for it? Where was it? Do we know where it was tested? Did they mention anything about where?
No. That's never been released, and I think it's interesting, right? You know, just making a sweeping statement like that. Does this
Yeah.
just debunk it and just look this way, or does it raise more questions? And I think, you know, we're talking about this more than half a century later, and we've still
Yeah.
got loads of questions. Were those questions ever really answered? Because you're still asking them, and I'm still interested.
The argument for hoax, it just feels thin.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that it's the argument for hoax is thin, but at the same time, looking at the object and going, it doesn't look anything outside of the realm that could potentially be from Earth. The hieroglyphs look alien. They look strange. They look very similar to other areas. Their placing looks like somebody's done it in a crude workshop.
Yeah.
Open it up to find a booklet. This is a lot of effort that someone's gone to.
Yeah.
But then it has clear seals in regards to being able to break it apart, which then kind of again goes against the argument for it being alien. I feel like you're stuck in it because I can't see it being a ship. It's too small. Clearly, I feel like it is a hoax, or is it something that was left here for a reason? But then the messaging kind of aligns to what you hear in every single story of this nature.
Yeah.
I really don't know where I land on this.
Yeah. I think just like, let's dig into that skeptic view a little bit then.
Yeah.
So at the time, and you know, I've kind of got this in my notes here, a lot of the researchers argued that the saucer was a local hoax, and it was really perhaps created to capitalize on Sputnik fever, obviously the space race, and you know, there was a lot of that going on, and rightly so. But I think the hieroglyphs, the copper booklet, and the dramatic element of the message could all be, you know, just a creative prankster wanting to make a name for themselves, wanting to have a bit of laugh, kind of with their friends behind closed doors. Everybody's taking this seriously. You know, and there was a lot of that. You know, think of the Loch Ness Monster and things like that. A lot of people put a lot of effort into making, you know, trying to become notorious or infamous because
Mm.
you couldn't have your 5 minutes of fame on TikTok or whatever it was, right? You had to be in the newspaper, and that was really the only medium. So there was a abundance of people taking that sort of role. Um, so that's kind of one angle. I think another could be just digging into that a little bit. So the experts examining the materials, like there was no exotic metal, there was no unknown alloys, and no radiation. But as you've just kind of mentioned, Kyle, right, from a way that an object like this is maybe traversing our kind of space and time, would it have any of those anyway? So I think what makes it endure? Why is it still fascinating us? 70 plus years later, is it a hoax?
Uh, it's a funny one because I think it's the mystery of it. I'm looking at it right now, and
Yeah,
it doesn't look alien. It looks like a spinning top. I remember the toy. I think I had one where you had the
yeah,
thing on the top and you pushed it
yeah.
down
I
and the thing would
remember.
spin
Yeah,
around.
same.
It looks like one of those. It genuinely
Yeah,
looks like one of those. My counter argument to your argument just a moment ago, and again, because I think this is a good way to do it, to kind of balance it out, to kind of see where we're coming, because I'm not convinced. The infamous nature of someone becoming infamous for doing this kind of thing, no one ever came forward, no one ever claimed responsibility, no one
yeah.
got
Good.
famous, and more importantly, no one made any money from it. It was just
Yeah,
out there. And then you're kind of into the realm of, well, was it just a piece of junk that three people stumbled across? Maybe. I'm looking now at the uh, I'm looking at the actual newspaper article, head
yeah.
titled "Has Yorkshire Got a Flying Saucer?" It's not a flying saucer.
No.
It's definitely not a flying saucer. It, it's just too small. It, it, but again, then think about technology these days. Could it be something else that was used? Um,
Maybe.
I, I, I lean more towards it being a hoax than something legitimate. But there are enough things around this for me to think there's something not right about this.
Think about the boogosphere. Think about the
Yeah.
boogosphere. How big is that?
Oh, it's about that big.
It's about yay big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not big. Not big
About
at
the
all.
size of a car steering wheel.
Yeah, about that. Similar size. Obviously, just
It's
completely
interesting.
spherical. Mm.
Yeah.
And some of the things that they're finding out about that with the fibre optics and stuff inside. There was a
Yes.
great. I saw something this week actually. I was watching something and I forgot the name. If I remember, I'll put it onto the edit. But there was a previous case of a boogosphere that someone found that had exploded. Something had happened. It shattered on the top.
They fascinate me, and obviously, where we talked about my experiences, I saw a sphere in the sky. So I think, that along with the TR3B, they really fascinate me. Like, I'd be so intrigued, not to be beamed up, but to see one in more detail and see one kind of flying. Um, Again, maybe.
You know me. I want a cup of coffee.
Yeah, yeah. You're brave. You're a bigger boy than me, though, mate. You're a bigger boy. You got like,
Only in the daytime, not in
you
the
got
night
them.
time. Scares me in the night
Yeah,
time.
fair, fair. Yeah, and based on your experiences, yeah, I totally understand why. Okay, let's flip it on its head. What about the people that actually believed it, right? So, generally, I'm on the optimism side of life. I'm generally a believer. I'm not saying I'm a mug and I'm like easily led. I kind of base things on evidence, but I will tend towards believer rather than kind of rationalization a lot of the time. And I think at the time, supporters of this and believers of this pointed to the hieroglyphs being very similar to Roswell. I think to make the copper booklet out of such thin sheets of copper with the precision at the time, hand tools only, not really the machines and stuff that we have today. The secrecy about the object disappearing would kind of trend you towards, oh, it's a cover-up, a bit like Roswell, right? And I guess part of the reason why it ended up being known as Britain's Roswell. I think, and the timing towards the Cold War, obviously that was a heightened period for most of Europe, Russia, America. It was tense. And I think some argued at the time that the object was intentionally downplayed, and we see this repeating itself throughout history in many scenarios where there's weird, unexplained phenomenon. And at the time, yet again, another downplayed scenario, but then the thing's disappeared. So, let me ask it to you like this. Do you think it's possible that it was an early drone, maybe a classified experiment, or maybe something genuinely anomalous?
Honestly, the first thing that points to my mind, this is very much, I mean, you talk about the experiences they have over in the States, and then an old spinning top is potentially a piece of secret UK military tech. I mean, it could be. I mean, it doesn't look very technological. I would probably lean towards more local hoax for various reasons, just the stamping of the hieroglyphs. I mean, there's always an outside chance, right, that somebody was potentially putting something together as an early drone. The issue with that is, if you look at drones now, they're very propeller based, and if you go further back, like I remember getting a motorized car, this this has no form of propulsion to be a drone. Unless it broke, unless that nodule on the top had a propeller on it. But then you're into when they broke it open, it had the copper booklet.
And the copper coil.
Weird. And what was inside it had a copper coil, what the... but then I mean, is it some kind of science experiment that somebody was doing? Maybe. I mean, back at the 50s, they were talking about anti-grav, and obviously got the Thomas Townsend Brown links you've got through Jesse Michaels. I mean, but again, Scarborough's not exactly known for its tech hub and university for sciences, is it really? It's known for fish and chips and donkey rides.
Yeah. Well, the Twin Bays, right? It's the Twin Bays. That's what you went to Scarborough for. The Twin Bays of Scarborough.
All right, I'm going to do it. I've got a question for you.
Go on.
You've got 20 grand. Yep. And you're at the table. Black, it's a false flag. It's a hoax. Red, it's something genuinely anomalous. You have to put that 20 grand on one. What are you doing?
Red.
So you think it's anomalous?
Yeah.
Interestingly, I would have gone black. If I was in the same position, I would have gone black. And that's not like me.
And I don't know why.
I am,
but I want to believe.
Yeah.
But I want to believe.
Do you know what I would say is that your boogosphere point's a really good one. I sit here wondering if it was something genuinely anomalous, not from around here. Is it something that was left off a ship?
Let me phrase it slightly different. So I loved your question. I thought it was a great way to ask it, and I think it really forced my perspective. Yeah. So some fragments have resurfaced. Ooh. What hasn't resurfaced? The actual thing has not resurfaced. Well, why is that?
Really?
No.
I'm looking at some of the fragments now.
Yeah. So some fragments have resurfaced. And I guess that's the thing that's kind of drawing me to a different conclusion. Because, obviously, I've spent a lot of time researching this ready for this episode. I think for me, that's the part that's standing out. If this was a genuine hoax, it'd be out there. That would still exist. And even if they did open it and they found those things, that might have been an openable compartment. They might not have done real analysis to understand the actual working mechanisms, anti-gravity, and all those things. Like, we have never seen the thing since. We've just found a cigarette tin with some fragments in it.
I'm going to put some of these fragments as pictures over the film for everybody to see. And I'm looking at the fragments we've got, and literally, it's 4 pieces.
Exactly. So where's the craft? Craft. I'm saying craft. Like, I'm straight to my assumption, right? Craft or not craft? Where's the object, right? Where is it?
I mean, if you could speculate, and you could say, was it something that was used for monitoring?
Maybe.
The point. I mean, I don't know how this would have done much of anything at the time that we were talking about what it would have potentially been done. I keep coming back to the hieroglyphs. The hieroglyphs look legit, but they're stamped in a really weird way.
But so is the boogosphere. That's
true.
weird
Very,
when you
very
look
true.
at it. And it's small, and it looks really innocuous. But they're being seen flying all over the world. Maybe it's just a monitoring drone. And I'm not trying to colour your opinion, right? But I'm just answering the question of, would I go red or black? And my answer is driven by that. Silpho Moor sits at a crossroad between folklore, Cold War paranoia, and maybe real mystery. Whether it's a hoax or real, genuine hardware, it tells us something about how we interpret the unknown. And with these fragments now back in the public eye, is it time for us as a community and as the UK to maybe have a look at one of UK's most forgotten UFO cases? Let me know in the comments, do you think Silpho Moor is a hoax, an elaborate prank? Maybe it's a cover-up. Or maybe you think it's a forgotten encounter. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you here at UAP Network.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that, Dave. You brought something this week that has genuinely dumbfounded me, and I don't really know what to think at the end of this one. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. I continue to push. Let us know if you're seeing anything. If you want to talk to us, contact us on the email, which we'll put up on the screen. But no, Dave, thank you for bringing this one. I think we should do a few more of these. And I've enjoyed the way in which we've both kind of argued both sides on this to try and help figure it out.
Yeah, me too. I've really enjoyed filming this episode today, guys. Let us know in the comments, is there anything Kyle and I can do better? Obviously, we're aiming to improve our kind of recording techniques and videos every week as we kind of learn and grow with you guys and the community. And make sure you smash that like button if you got some value out of today's video. And make sure you subscribe so you follow us along. It really helps out the channel with the algorithm and helps to surface us to more and more of the wider community. We'd love it.
Yeah, thanks. As I said, like, comment, subscribe, and other than that, we will see you soon on the next one. Have a good one.
Ciao.
Ciao.